Hey guys, welcome back to hunting camp. Today I'm going to show you what a typical early morning looks like for me. So I'm usually the first person to get up in the morning, and then the first thing I do is get the fires going so that the tents will be nice and warm. It is October here in Idaho and it is really cold early in the mornings. I like to fill the wood stove at night before I go to bed and then shut it down. That way in the morning I just have to stir the coals and put more firewood into the stove, and then my kitchen warms up very quickly. So before I get started doing anything with breakfast or lunches, I always clear the dishes away first so that those are out of the way, and then I have a clear counter space to work with. I like to start by getting everything out that I'm going to need to make breakfast and to make lunches, so that once I start I don't have to stop and dig around in my totes to find something. So that usually helps me to get everything done a lot more quickly. And then before I even start with breakfast, I like to get started on the sandwiches, because when I have a lot of people in camp I have to make a lot of sandwiches. And this week we had 14 guys in camp, and I usually do 2 sandwiches each, so that comes out to 28 sandwiches. So that always takes a while to get those done. So I get started on those, and then while I'm making sandwiches I will be making breakfast as well, and just kind of going back and forth between the sandwiches and the lunches and the food that I'm cooking. I've gotten really good at multitasking out here so that everything gets done on time and nobody has to leave late to go hunting. So the lunches are always the same. We do a meat and cheese sandwich and then also a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And then to the lunches I always add either an apple or an orange and then a pack of cookies. Brenda makes the cookies back at the house and she sends them in already packaged up in pairs so that I can just throw them into the lunch bags and I don't have to worry about making them or sorting them out. So that makes it very easy for me. I keep my lunch meat, the cheese, and the mayonnaise in my coolers outside, so I just have to go out and grab that before I can start making the meat and cheese sandwiches. Brenda also makes all of the lunch meat for the sandwiches, and then she just vacuum seals everything and sends it in with the groceries whenever we start a new week. So for breakfast this morning, I wanted to make some bacon and French toast to use up the French bread that I had. Whenever I have this many people to cook for, I like to give the bacon about an hour to cook because it takes a while in the Dutch oven. I do it on the wood stove because I feel like that gets a lot hotter than my cook stove does. And then also that frees up the cook stove so that I can have room on there to make the French toast and the scrambled eggs. I have made this French toast many times in camp over the years, so I have the recipe memorized. It's usually 2 eggs, 1/2 cup of milk, a little bit of vanilla, and then this is enough for about 6 to 7 slices of bread. I usually double or triple this recipe depending on how many people I have in camp. Today I did ×4, and then I ended up having to go back and make a little bit more because it wasn't quite enough. To make the French toast, I always put lots of butter on my skillet, and then I just fry the French toast until it's golden on both sides, and then I keep the finished French toast in the oven with the pilot light on so that it stays warm until the guys come in for breakfast. That way I can keep the food warm while I continue to make more. I don't usually add cinnamon to the egg mixture while I am mixing it, and then I just sprinkle some on the top while the French toast is frying. I found that if I put the cinnamon into the egg mixture, it doesn't really mix in that well, and then you have some pieces of bread that have a lot of cinnamon and other pieces that don't really have that much. I have discovered that it is much easier to make scrambled eggs versus making fried eggs if I have a lot of people. It's just so much easier to put all the eggs in a bowl and scramble them up rather than make, 28 to 30 fried eggs, flipping them all one by one. It just takes a lot longer. So I like to scramble the eggs, and then I always add a lot of bacon grease to my skillet so that the eggs don't stick. This is actually a skillet that I stripped and re-seasoned, and it's my favorite by far. It is very well seasoned, and it works really well to cook all of these eggs that I have to make.
Yeah, I've had that happen. But like intentionally, God. At least on my river. Take vitamins before I go to bed, and I drink like 6 16 ounces of water.
Yeah, coffee.
Not in the hunting area.
Morning.
Oh, well. Morning.
Morning. They just weren't.
It's mostly just fishing.
No, it's mostly fishing and I guess tubing, but a lot of places do that. I know the other two outfitters own like other river permits, so they might be fishing those more. But I mean, I was basically on there every day in July, and I bet they only put in 4 or 5 days.
The one girl that was in it took her and her husband. Her movie name was Crystal Pistol. Yeah, the one guy was saying like her husband was his job as a TV.
Because like it's not like training a dog to hunt lions or bears.
And yeah, with weather like this, it would be.
She was watching though.
Cool.
Dishes full.
My eye is
Why?
easy to wrangle compared to Cabot Creek, though. Generally.
It's quicker.
I've never had really the issue.
So usually after the guys leave, I wash the dishes and get the kitchen cleaned up. So I'm going to get this done and then we're going to get on with the rest of our day. If you are interested in seeing what the rest of my day looks like, then check out this next video where I show you everything that I do in camp while the guys are out hunting.